Yo, what's good, my people? It's your boy, Big Chris, aka the Compton Animator, and I'm here to give you another WWE Raw review. So tonight we're reviewing WWE Raw for February 24th, 2014. And tonight's show kicks off, well, before we talk about that, just today you have the introduction of the WWE Network. Now, I haven't got it yet, so I'm going to probably get it tomorrow when I get paid, but, I really want to check it out, see what's up with it. Watch the Raw pre-show and after show and stuff like that, and watch all the other shows on it. Especially when Thursday comes around, I want to watch the little episode of NXT that they have on there. But kicking off with tonight's Raw, we kick off with the first segment in our opening segment. Hulk Hogan makes his return. So Hulk Hogan comes back, and I'm trying to stop saying Hulk Hogan comes back and makes his return, and he comes out and he talks to the crowd, and he basically tells the crowd, he's happy to be back, and this is home to him, and he really delighted to be here to help not only introduce the WWE Network, but be on the same night as the WWE Network, and also to tell everybody that he's going to be hosting WrestleMania for the WrestleMania 13, and talked about his history a little bit and stuff like that. I liked his introduction in here, and I liked that, he came back and did everything he needs to do. He kind of fumbled the wordings a little bit of, saying that things are WWE Universe instead of WWE Network a couple of times. He did a couple other things that, just didn't click at first, but him getting back and figuring out his speech and stuff like that really clicked after a while, and once he got into it. After that, you got the announcers bringing on the WWE Network and continuing that stuff and everything like that. So they really was pumping the WWE Network all night. Next, you got your first match, which was Alberto Del Rio and Batista, basically going off of a rematch off of the really good night in general Elimination Chamber, but a pretty mediocre match between them two at the Chamber. This match right here was probably the same way, I would say. It really, didn't do that much to build both guys up. Batista was still getting booed as heavy as he was last night, and he was probably, getting, just more boos on. People started saying Bootista, and I kind of felt sorry for the dude here. He really looked like he just did not like the reaction that he was getting, and I don't know if it was just him acting or whatever, but it really looked like he was just like, I don't know why I'm here, and I'm just not feeling this anymore. Alberto Del Rio here was pretty good. He really did his thing, coming through and doing all his movesets and stuff like that, and he really came off as a cool, heel tonight. Just that he was getting cheered, and he really played with it well. So as far as the match goes, they had an okay match. Batista came back after getting beat down on Alberto Del Rio for a while. Randy Orton came and came out with the mic and kind of shed a little interference for Batista, and Del Rio ends up coming out with a roll-up pin and pinning Batista, and I'm trying to say came out pinning Batista and basically getting the win off of Randy Orton's interference. So after that, you get Randy Orton, who basically talks to Batista and tells Batista that he should listen to the crowd. He's been getting booed this whole time. Maybe he should just leave and give up his chance at WrestleMania because he doesn't need to be here. Batista comes back and basically tells Randy Orton that he doesn't care and stuff like that, and he loves the WWE, he loves wrestling, and if the fans boo him, he's going to boo back. As far as the match goes, like I said, it was pretty mediocre at best. The ending segment goes, I wish they would have portrayed Batista more off of the crowd here. I feel that he's getting too much control as far as, I think he does want to be a face, and he does want to try the best to get cheers, but he's just not, his mic work isn't there as far as to get the crowd to go his way. And I think the only way they can do it is play into these boos, and at least probably they may end up having to add one more person to this match because both of these guys are not going to get cheered. And if Randy Orton does get cheered, there's going to be people who cheering him because of not Batista. And this reminds me a lot of what's going on in NXT with the champion NXT Bo Dallas, because you get a lot of people who boo Bo Dallas just because he's who he is and stuff like that, and they just don't like him at the moment. Next, you get a match with Big E Langston versus, well, Big E versus Cesaro. Basically, the guys who got their two names changes getting into a match. A pretty cool little match here. You get a big, nice power, a lot of power moves from Big E Langston, and the same thing with Cesaro. They really came out and showed a pretty cool match. I don't think it was as good as Big E's and Swagger's match the night before at Elimination Chamber, but it was a pretty okay match here, especially one for Raw. Cesaro even gets the big swing off on Big E, but where the match goes down is Jack Swagger ends up coming in and interrupting the match by putting Big E Langston in a ankle lock after Big E attacks him outside when Jack Swagger tried to attack Big E first, and Cesaro kind of gets pissed at it. Big E ends up winning by DQ, and after that Cesaro just says fuck it and hits Big E with the neutralizer, and the Real Americans start having a little bit of just a little bit of argument in between each other. I thought the match was pretty okay, and I like that they're still bringing a little rift between the team, but they're moving slow with it. Next, we get John Cena, who comes out and basically talks about the whole thing of still the new guys got to go through him if they want to lead the company, and also says, the Wyatt should come out here because they interfered with him and stuff like that. So the Wyatt family comes out, and Bray Wyatt cuts this really good promo talking about how he basically is the top right now, and if they need to go against the guy who's basically lying to the audience and lying to everybody, telling them there's hope in the world, and really there isn't any. Bray Wyatt is the truth, and Bray Wyatt will bring, basically he's saying he'll bring the realness onto America, onto the world. And tells him, Cena, if you want us to go through you, we will. And I really like this whole promo segment. I actually like Cena's promo segment as well. Both of these guys did a pretty good job in their promo segments and leading on to the beatdown. I thought it was really done well. Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family really got in there and really beat down on Cena, made it look really nice, and even got his leg messed up at one point, and coming out to just a full beatdown and just really, really making it look good. And Cena had to be carried out on the stretcher afterwards. So next we get a match with Christian and Sheamus. This match was another one of what I'm going to say is probably the theme of the night. Just okay. A lot of things on the show was just okay, and so was this match. It wasn't as good as the previous match that they had on SmackDown, and that goes to a lot of the other things that were happening tonight. A lot of things were just okay, and they weren't the things that they were the previous weeks before and the previous nights before. The match ends with Sheamus hits Christian with a bro kick, and it was a really nice bro kick that he hit on Christian, but still, it really wasn't a match. The match went on too long, and it wasn't nowhere near as brutal as the one they had before. Next, we get Daniel Bryan versus Kane, and this match was one of the first signings of them actually talking about, well, no, the Sheamus one was, but this was one of the other signings of them actually showing what's happening on the Raw pre-shows. And for this one, Daniel Bryan confronted the authorities, said he wants a match for Raw, and then you get, on the other one, it was Sheamus and Christian confronting each other, arguing, and end up getting a match for Raw. So they're basically using the pre-show to set up the Raw stuff. And with this match here, I thought it was a pretty okay match again. Kane is pretty still slow and a pretty bulky guy and stuff like that. You can still tell that he has a lot of things going on with him, and even though he's bulking out more, it still isn't, the cardio is still there, and he's still slow in the ring. Daniel Bryan did exactly what he needs to do tonight and made Kane look as good as he can, but Daniel Bryan ends up, just having an okay match with him. The match goes towards the end when Kane hits Daniel Bryan with a choke slam, but Daniel Bryan pops out from it and ends up hitting him with the big knee, and with the running knee, it ends up taking the win cleanly off of there. So after that, Daniel Bryan starts talking to the crowd and basically tells the crowd, you know what? I've been on this movement for a while now, for 6 months. Triple H hasn't given me exactly what I wanted. He hasn't given the fans what he wanted. He's basically been in my way the whole time. Every month, every match, everything I've been through, Triple H has been in my way. And I need Triple H to understand that, as long as he's going to be in my way, I can't do anything. So basically he's saying, I want a match against Triple H. And he gets the crowd to chant yes. One thing I'll say about this crowd tonight, it was very iffy. They booed when they felt like it, and basically saying they booed when it was on to them to, make them look good, but not to help the show. What I liked about the Elimination Chamber Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, was that the crowd there did a really good job of hyping up everything for matches and stuff like that, and they were very much into the show, all the good and the bad. So with this crowd, you have them who, same amount of time on the show, just they weren't into really anything, and it was like they were sitting on their hands all night. And even for the good matches, they were pissing me off. And there's one match I'm gonna talk about later where it was just making me really mad about how they were reacting to the match, and it's something that they want, and they're reacting shitty to it. So it just I just didn't understand it. But as far as Daniel Bryan promo go, I like the promo more than I like the match. Only thing I'm not fine with is that it's just going to be a regular match with him and Triple H at Mania. And tell you the truth, I'm still the one that wants him to go for the title at Mania. I think he needs to go for the title at Mania. Even if he's going to take a double shift versus Triple H and going for the title, he needs to be in that match, because if it's just Randy Orton, Batista, people are going to boo the shit out of that match. And I don't know if WWE wants that when all the eyes are on him at WrestleMania. So next we get a quick match with Summer Rae versus Emma, and this is basically Emma's first match inside of the WWE. This match itself was pretty okay as well. Compared to the matches that I've seen Summer Rae and Emma do on NXT, it wasn't really that good, and I just felt that it could have been a lot better and stuff like that. And I've seen these girls do better on NXT. It feels like they were playing with kitty gloves tonight, and I just knew they can do better. Emma ends up coming out with the win here after some dance moves and stuff like that, and it wasn't okay for what it was, and it got the crowd reacting to it and stuff like that, but it is just not really that great when you look at it. Next we get the Usos versus the New Age Outlaws. It's like everything is interacting with me right now. So this match right here basically didn't really get off to a start. You had the New Age Outlaws who were already in the ring with the Usos, and the New Age Outlaws was basically telling the Usos, you know what, stand back, son. After the bell ring, this is all happening. Stand back. We about to do our little promo, do our little interest thing, and watch how it's done. So even before they can get it done, Road Dogs can finish it. Road Dogg ends up getting kicked in the face by an Uso, and Usos end up doing their moves and getting a pin. And this is another part that pissed me off with the crowd, because, and it's also the Road Dogs as well, they're not playing themselves enough up as heels. So when the faces do something that is a normal face move or something, just to get themselves over, the crowd starts booing the faces. And the Usos were very cool here, and I liked the whole little segment as a whole of what they were doing. It just, the way it played off to the crowd and the way it's been playing off wasn't clicking. So I like the segment here, and the Usos picking up the win and actually getting themselves back in the contingencies for the titles. I liked, but the way that they've been playing this didn't work for what they were doing here. Next we get Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns. Now this was set up in a backstage segment where the Shield were together and they were arguing with each other, trying to figure out where did Dean Ambrose go in that match and why he wasn't there to help them out when they was getting ready to lose and when they finally lost. So you get that, and Dean Ambrose basically leaves, say, I had enough of this. Bray Wyatt comes in and basically goes, man, y'all must have like a lot of friction and stuff like that, and just basically berating them. So they end up arguing back and forth with each other, and it basically goes, okay, you know what? I'm not going to bring the dogs. You don't bring the family. Let's just me and you go fight. And they ended up having a pretty good match, I thought. The crowd, again, was not into this at all. And it just baffled me why. I thought these guys went out there and they put on a pretty nice match. It wasn't the greatest matches of all, and it wasn't, one of the great matches of the year. But I thought they did an adequate job of putting on a solid match. And you even get the Wyatt family who comes out to try to interfere, but you get Rollins who comes out and basically try to beat down on those two and gets beat down on his own. Then Ambrose comes out and tries to help. And I like that Ambrose is wearing his jacket now. It's kind of breaking him up more and more from the rest of the family. Rest of the Shield. And he ends up attacking Bray Wyatt in the process and having the match end up losing for Roman Reigns by DQ, which kind of brings more heat towards the Shield as a whole, but also may end up continuing on a little bit of the feud with the Shield as well. And these dudes just look badass right here. I love this pick. So next you get your main event, which is basically your main event segment, which is Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman basically comes out and says, the Authority hasn't listened to anything we've said. The Authority gave us a contract that says we can have any match against any person that we want except the title match. And it's basically a consolation prize for us. We want the title match. We won't accept nothing but the title match. And I thought it was a pretty good promo, and Paul Heyman cut it nicely. But this happened. The Undertaker came back. And we all kind of knew it was going to happen. But once he came out, once his music hit, everything else from the rest of the night just dropped. I was kind of tired tonight. That dropped. And I was kind of just in awe of The Undertaker once again. It seems like every time he comes back, he's my favorite wrestler. I'm always in awe of him. And, just like somebody probably would be a Hulk Hogan, this dude just, makes me feel like, like a kid again every time I see him. So he comes down there in his Assassin's Creed outfit, and you get Brock Lesnar, who just looks like, damn, what have I done? They get into each other's faces, and Brock Lesnar's basically going, you know what, fuck it, this is what I want. Signs the contract, tries to get Undertaker to sign a contract. Undertaker puts it in front of Undertaker's face, and Undertaker basically just stabs it into his hand, stabs the pen into Brock Lesnar's hand, and uses his blood to sign a contract, basically. So I really like this. And then Undertaker basically picks him up and slams him through the table. And I really like this, and it basically as little words as possible, showing you, okay, Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania, let's go. The crowd was into it, and there's no way you could be into it. These two guys are legendary statuses damn near, and I like the way that Paul Heyman played up that Brock Lesnar's basically been through everything. He's conquered everything. Only thing that was left is the titles, and basically now Undertaker match. So I love the way they played this up, and kind of, the last match that Undertaker needs. And also just this right here, the way that it is being, played up in the media and stuff like that. A few years ago in the UFC, there was this whole thing with Brock Lesnar and Undertaker staring each other down at one of Brock Lesnar's UFC events, and Undertaker kind of looking back at him like, what up, what you want to do? And then you get here where it's basically all that accumulated to right here into this stare down, and it was just so good. And to see The Undertaker, hands up, walking off badass, and Brock Lesnar on the ground, bloody hands, or whatever, much blood as they want to show us, and just beating him and battered right there, was just all worth it. And this WrestleMania match is going to be worth it. So as far as the show goes, I would give it a C+. I was going to go C- because I felt that a lot of things just didn't add up, especially to the hype that we got from Elimination Chamber. But the end segment rose it up a full 1.5. And I think that, them bringing this out and really doing it well, really did it. And a couple of the spots were really done well. And I won't batterize, I won't put down the WWE for how the crowd was acting tonight. So yeah, I would give the show a C+. Hopefully we can get another better show on SmackDown, and hopefully Raw next week is better. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Peace.